Bradford just says bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. What does dogs get? Dogs get a bone every now and then, as long as you dig for them. Anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Lab.com, founder of Red Dog Mindset. Hopefully everyone's feeling good this morning. What did you do this morning? Did you get up? Did you get a little bit of your blood flowing, get a little sweat out? Did you hydrate? Right now I'm in the middle of like a 40-hour fast. I started on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. I go to about 1 o'clock on Tuesday. I like to test myself and do things, control my mind. So when it's time to press the buttons, time to execute, I do so. I listen to my inner voice. Can you hear your inner voice? Or is it, blocked out by doubt and just things that, you can't control? But anyway, at this point, it is 6:33. It is 12/9. It is Tuesday. Tomorrow is the Fed. Tomorrow is the FOMC. Some people are like, hey, Red Dog, is this good? You did 115 push-ups already, Ken? That's cool. I do that at lunchtime usually. Cheers. Cheers to everyone tuning in. Cheers to if you have your morning process going, between the 20 to 5:20 to the 6:30 club. I can't think of a better way with, the two of them together to get your mind right between, the juices flowing into the X's and O's. And I'd say at this point, this is kind of healthy. If you look here, we had a big move, right? You had a big move since the Red Dog reversal. You guys know the Red Dog reversal. This happened on, Thanksgiving week, gave you a quick move up. And then now we've been kind of, grinding a little bit where it's been very, very specific from day to day. Hasn't been that easy, to be honest. So hopefully you're holding up okay. And then yesterday they shook it up a little bit where we broke below Friday's low, which was right here. You remember, I'm like, in order to see the 8-day, what do you got to do? You got to get below Friday's low. So that's why I write down pivots. And now let's see what happens today. Do we have an inside day where, we hold 681.50, go sideways and let some charts build ahead of Wednesday? And then we're going to have to see what happens on Wednesday. Is it a hawkish cut? Is it a dovish cut? Is it a neutral cut? And then we'll see the action to see what's going to happen between now, or Wednesday, Thursday, and Christmas into the year. Markets had a big year, starting the year 20% in the hole, and then, coming back and then tacking on some gains. It's been cheers to you for staying the course. And hopefully if you had a great year, congratulations. If you made some mistakes, you know what? Another year's coming. They always come. You just got to make sure that you work on yourself and figure out what you did wrong, what you did right, and become a better, more, complete market participant, but really be just more of a complete person. But with that said, so here we are. Do we hold 681.50? SPYs right now are up 40 cents. So well off that. Little sideways is good. Building upper range would be nice. So then this way we could see the levels as we get into 2 o'clock on Wednesday. Q's very similar. Q's had a nice move. We did break below Friday's low, just like the SPY. So get rid of that. You now have a low 621.69. Okay, this isn't as important. You could actually raise this up a little bit if you want to. Are we going to go sideways? Are we going to stay inside this little range? Let the 8-day catch up, which is very healthy. I think a lot of the bulls are a little spoiled. Like, oh my God, it's so lethargic. It's nothing going on. I'm like, okay, well, look at the move that we just had from the Red Dog reversal at 584.75. Anyway, there was some tricky action, in Mag 7. So I get it. If you came along Tesla yesterday, it definitely hurt a little bit. I came in long Tesla yesterday, but if you look at it overall, what did it do? All it did is come back to the 8-day. That happens. So anyway, I was pretty small yesterday after being long since 4:03. We had it on as a power play, and we already took 2/3 off. So having a third on is a swing. It happens. If you have too many swings on in a day like yesterday, it hurts. So let's open this up a little bit. I did read today that there was something, they're pushing a lot, zero down, blah, 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 to get some of these things out. So anyway, this is 435.25. For today, it's already lagging a little bit. Is Tesla going to hold 435.25? Or is it going to break below and see the 21-day, which it has a bunch of times, or even the 50? I don't know. All I know is it would be nice if it held higher. It'd be nice if it held this low and went sideways and showed its equipment, but we'll see. It's got to prove. Remember Apple? Apple did the same thing. Apple, had a red dog reversal up here. Remember, we were long a lot of Apple. It was also a power play. We had to do a lot of good power plays over Thanksgiving. Anyway, from here is your time to get involved. Here's your upper range. Takes out the range, digests above the 8-day, takes out, 280.30. Remember that. And then you had a red dog reversal sell. Got above 287, came back below. That was your out. We played that power play perfect. We got everyone out. Everyone got out. But anyway, I thought it would hold 280, and guess what? It didn't. It went lower. So you never want to really, get too opinionated. So anyway, now what do we have? So here's a 21-day. This is where it went down to yesterday. We'll see if it starts to go sideways and then takes this out or not. Right now, Apple is up a whole 30 cents at 278. So we'll see if it hangs in here, goes sideways to get back in action. But again, if you didn't get out here, it came down fast. So you have to know your pivots. You have to have your preparation. You got to know what you're doing. All right, you guys want to talk about today? Why is someone saying Tilray? I haven't heard the name Tilray in a while. Tilray. So what's Tilray doing? It's doing nothing. Anyway, let's move on. So Morgan Stanley says the bull case is 830, bear case 125. Okay, anyway, let's go Oracle. Somebody asked me to go over Oracle. Oracle to me already had this little broken bounce, went to the, I guess, whatever this, I think this is the 200-day. Earnings are coming out December 10th. So that's tomorrow. It's already had like a broken bounce. Can it get to 240-ish? It can. So, I just think Oracle is a tough stock. It's very tough. It's got a lot of banter around it. I feel like if you were playing for a broken bounce, you already got the broken bounce. I'm not playing this into the number. I just don't think there's any FOMO here. Like here, this was your red dog reversal, by the way. This was what everybody was waiting for. Got below 193.55, came back up, gave you a little follow through, held higher. So you already had kind of a move. I don't know. I'm not playing it. It's up to you guys. NVIDIA, you know what? NVIDIA was interesting yesterday. NVIDIA came out with that news midday. We talk about go time all the time. We talk about like pushing keys. And I was about to leave, to go do my push-ups. I do that midday, and I take Phoenix out for a little ride after being up since 4:45 in the morning. I usually step off the desk for an hour. And as I'm leaving, all of a sudden the Alpha team's like, hey, NVIDIA's going. Sat down. I knew 185.50 was a spot. Bought a lot of it. And then I knew 187, 188 would be tough. Sold some into it. Made a few $1,000s right away. And I was like, look at that. Go time. Instincts went, knew my levels, knew what the pressure point was. And then into the pullback, I did buy options for Friday just in case, Trump confirmed it and China confirmed it. But PS, all of a sudden there's now a report that, China doesn't want the chips as much. So hopefully you didn't buy this after hours, like 189, 190. It's still trying to prove. Like, that's just how lethargic this tape is. Look at this tape. SPYs are up 30 cents. This is up 28 cents. That's up 30 cents. This is down 350. It happens. We're 2 days before the Fed. Stop being such a spoiled brat. Anyway, NVIDIA did have a push. It got above 185.66, went to 188. It was into the 190s last night, but then a report just came out saying that they might not take the leftover chips. So it happens. So it's tough. So TH Sid just says iron looks good. I do think iron looks good also. Iron is one of the names that had a huge year last year. A lot of us made a friggin' ton of money in this stock from 25. Some guys had it from 11. I didn't really have it from 11. I had it from like 25-ish, and it went as high as 75 before coming into a corrective phase. So with that being said, I don't think it's going to go back to 75 anytime soon, but market wants to hang in there. They want to come after some former leaders, and some institutions want to mark this up because they probably own a bunch of it. I could see this getting through 47 and getting as close to like 51 and change. So there's some room here. Last time I said that was last week with ASTS, and I had no idea it was going to be so big. Look, very similar pattern here with ASTS. ASTS was sitting down here, got out of it on the red dog reversal, had everyone make a ton of money from friggin' like 50 all the way up. I think I got out of it here, so I didn't quite make it to 102, but this was a nice trade. And then it reversed, and then it broke down, and now it was rebuilding. So down here, I bought ASTS, right around 57-ish. I'm like, you have a low, you have a higher low. Maybe you could take it out and get to 62. I didn't think it was going to get to 75, but I did sell it. I had a third on up until about 70. So that was a nice trade. Now we'll see if this could rebuild here. You could probably raise this up a little bit because this was the high, not even 75. Let it go sideways. And I do think this name is not done. It should have a really good year next year. But, moral of that story is right here. I was looking at it and I was like, hey, maybe we can get a nice broken bounce rebuild trade, and it went a lot further. So I'm not saying Iron's going to do that, but it looks kind of tight and set up. You could be long the stock versus 43.60 and then add to it if it gets through 47, and then you have maybe 51 and 54. This also could maybe take a few days. So I went out and I bought the 12/26/50 calls. And we'll see how it goes. So I think this is a good setup. Some of these names are rebuilding. They always go through rebuilds. But anyway, Ken's talking about Path. Yes, Path was awesome. Path, this is Tuesday. Last week at this time, I told you I bought Path calls because Stock Talk from the spaces that I do at 3 o'clock was very bullish. And I'm like, I know a lot of people have been taking a lot of pain in this Path. It's a pain in the ass for so long. I listed the weekly chart, for everyone. I showed you how it came public wrong all the way down, sideways action. Everyone hates it. We bought the $14 calls, made like 200-300%. The Alpha team scored. Everyone scored. 1 week ago, did you press the buttons? Did you make some money? I personally think this stock's going to be at least 26.55 next year. So you want to figure out how to re-enter it. I think it could be that or even more. So this isn't done. This was just a trade. Congratulations if you took it. Hopefully you took it. Plab. So the same guy who actually talked about Path, I should know his name. He's really good. Stock Talk is his whatever it's called, is his handle. So he did go over Plab. I didn't do anything with it yet. Plab, this is the weekly chart. He thinks that they make the glasses for the semiconductors and da-da-da-da-da. It's a nice little spot here, 25. It's not as great of a spot or as big of a consolidation as we had with Path, but there's a lot of room there if it wants it. If you go to the daily chart, came right back to 25. It broke down during November like everything else. It looks pretty good. Looks like it could see that spot. I didn't buy any options yet. Last Tuesday, I told you I was already long Path, and people made money pre and post. It was awesome. But anyway, it was a calculated play, and then you could have bought it after earnings. You could have bought it at 17. But yeah, if you take options into earnings, it's not a gamble. It's a calculated trade. If you take stock into earnings, it's a gamble because anything can happen. At least where risk is premium paid. But I like you for bringing up that point. I appreciate it. Anyway, so this is the 25 area on Plab. I'm not in there yet. I'm going to look at it a little closer. Some people are like, hey, Red Dog, is Google different now? So this is a very good concept. I tell you, when the trade changes, you have to stop yourself out or you have to adjust. For me, for Google, the trade was an upper bull flag. There was an upper bull flag here. Looked like it was a leader. Looked like it was going to continue, right? So for those who were playing it versus 313.89 in the 8-day, you had to stop yourself out yesterday. The trade changed. It's not a high level pent up upper bull flag that's going to take out 328 or 322. Instead, it took out Friday's low, and I know it's at the end of the world, and it went below 313.89, so not as strong. So this upper bull flag changed. So if you were playing for it for an upper bull flag breakout, You had to adjust yesterday. You just had to. If you've been in it since we started to put it on the top of the go-to list here at 207, or if you're in it from this gap up and that's your play and you're like, hey, I'm just going to stay with this until it breaks the 50-day, that's a different trade. That's a different reason. Everyone has different reasons for different reasons why they're in names. But anyway, so you keep asking about Duo. All right, let's go Duo. D-U-O. What the hell is this? I don't know. D-U-O. I don't see anything here except for maybe it's January effect type play, had a big move at some point. If you're expecting something there, Jim, I don't know. It's a broken name, maybe a January effect name. Oh, Duol. Okay, well, you didn't say that. Here's Duol. All right, Duolingo. Looks like there's a gap here. It's trying to get into, has some room. D-U-O-L, down a little bit. Yeah. If I would have thought a better entry would have been, here when it broke above this area, then you had 2 days. So I would say as long as this holds yesterday's low, I think there's a decent shot that it fills this gap. It's kind of familiar to or similar to my CMG. I started to buy back CMG for a January effect. I do own options here. CMG is Chipotle. We caught it down here, which was a really good trade. They announced the buyback yesterday. I don't know why it didn't hold up, but anyway, I'm buying some options for January, just in case this wants to build and fill this gap. The stock was a lot higher. I know Chase and all his friends are still they still go to Chipotle. If you ever want really good chicken and protein, I'd rather see you go to Chipotle than McDonald's or Wendy's. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. It's been battered and bruised. I think this is still a good January effect candidate. So I would look at that. Somebody asked me about Meta. Meta is a little, getting a little tricky. I know yesterday there was a quick fast money trade where it went from down 3 to green to up 3. Boom. Those trades are awesome when you catch them. But if you went back to it, it went back red and went back down 5. That's tough. It's no commitment. That's no muscle memory anyway. So now this kind of changes here. I still think it's fine. If you're in this trade and your reason you're in a trade is, hey, I think it's going to hold 660 and hold the gap from announcing that they're going to spend less on the metaverse because it was a bad bet. They should have just went with Instagram. Should have called themselves Graham Cracker. No, anyone who's on Instagram so much as a cracker. No, I'm kidding. Instagram's pretty cool. So 660, I would be long versus that, and maybe next time it gets above that, it could be Fed day, it could be when the market proves or knows it's going to go higher. But for now, 660 should be your out. Yeah, Microsoft woke up a little bit yesterday. That's a hard name. Did wake up yesterday. Got beat. I had a third left. I lost money that day when it came out with the sales projections, this and that. 493 is right here. It's been very broken. But it's trading better. Like a broken bounces happen. You did have a low. This was your red dog reversal here. Gave you a quick move, made a higher low. Now, if it can get above and stay above 493-ish, what's it doing right here? There could be a trade. Yeah, I get it. I can see why you're in it. It's just this was really hard last week. But hard happens, right? I went over Duo, Jim. But what's up, Rick? Yeah, no, this is worthy. So if you want to, keep this on your radar and said, hey, Red Dog framed the trade, I would say as long as it holds this area, maybe builds. I'd rather see it have an inside day or so and then try and clear this. And then still have all the moving averages above. It's kind of tricky. It's just a tricky. QS and waiting for news. There's been no news. Let it go sideways a little bit. Supposedly some big OEMs are going to be taking their hard battery technology. It hasn't happened yet. BMNR, I'd rather see you buy Ethereum. Ethereum is trying to rebuild. There's some news that Tom Lee said the glitch might be over. So that's why Bitcoin and crypto made 3 higher lows. That was such a funny thing he said. There's a glitch. Why is Ethereum down? Why did Ethereum go from 44 down to 25? It was a glitch. No. Anyway, I'd rather see you buy Ethereum versus 2816 than BMNR. Problem with BMNR and those names, every time they go up, they're going to want to sell their own currency so they could buy more Ethereum. So why don't you just buy Ethereum, buy ETH? Maybe every now and then there's a short squeeze in a BMNR or a Mister or this and that. That gives you a little bit more of a trade if there's a tight setup. But longer term, if you buy Ethereum, you'll do better than BMNR. If you buy IBIT instead of Mister, you'll do much better. And for now, you have all these little higher lows. I would say you could be in IBIT verse 50-ish, and hopefully it continues to get a little bit better here. Crypto just doesn't look the same. It's in a building process. It happens every now and then. I saw somebody else say Kodak, autonomous trucks. All right, Rox, let me take a look here. KDK, you're saying? This is autonomous trucks. I gave you a little move yesterday. I don't know. I've never seen this name before. KDK. It's up 24 cents. Looks like it was some kind of SPAC or something. They just kind of redid it, rebuilt themselves. That's something, perhaps. What up? Galaxy got an upgrade, I think, today. Did its false breakout here, broke down. It's trying to rebuild like everything else, I guess. Wow, a lot of charts. Not a lot of great looking charts out there, I'll tell you. It is what it is. So with that said, listen, guys, it's 6:53. Going to go back to the SPYs. We're going to see what type of day we're going to have. Are we going to have an inside day where we rebuild above 681.50? Are we going to have individual stock action, which you have to really be in self-control? Yesterday, you could have easily overtraded, definitely. Today, I would think would probably be another inside type day. What do I mean? Well, the SPYs staying within, this candle to rebuild ahead of the FOMC tomorrow. With that said, don't overtrade. Know why you're in a trade. If the trade changes like Google changed yesterday, you have to adjust. And just make sure you're stacking days between now and the end of the year. I took down some of my positions just because I was like, I don't want to bleed. It's been a great 2025. We got a little hit in October, but did a nice rebuild. Ever since here, I feel like I've been green, maybe 10 out of 12 days. So stacking those days, it's adding back up. So I don't want to be in a position between now and Christmas or New Year's where, I get a little leg sweep. Nobody wants a leg sweep. Do you want a leg sweep through the holidays? No way. Anyway, so with that being said, be in control, know what the buzzwords, what the keys to the day is, what the levels mean, and then you can be prepared. And how do you get prepared? You get up every day. You put your big boy pants on or big girl pants on or your neutral pants on, whatever those pants are, and you get your day going. Drink a little water, hydrate, don't look at your phone the first 15 minutes, then check the news, and then get a little workout, and then maybe take a cold shower, and then get in here, watch the 6:30 Club, and then execute with confidence and stack some days. That's what we try and do. We try and win the morning to win the day. If you want the 6:30 Club in 2026 to be on Fridays also, subscribe to the Red Dog Mindset. I've been doing the 6:30 Club for free since 2020, Monday through Thursday. Everyone wants a Friday. Well, then subscribe to Red Dog Mindset so you have the opportunity to be grandfathered into the 2520, the 6:30 Club, and everything I do in the public. Because at some point, I might be leaving the public Twitter based on these bots and everything that's going on. It's just too much of a pain in the butt. I can't interact with my community the way I used to. And I'd rather have less of a community of real individuals versus, 240,000 where 50,000 of them are scam artists that just try and connect to your tweets and do everything you do. So anyway, before I go, Mommy Money says, thank you, Red Dog. Have a good day. Same thing for you. Rick says he's got more shorts than longs. Okay. And Jay Rice says, OSS, only small cap stock talk owns, acting like CMTL. Okay, let's talk about that. OSS, so this is a small cap so his name is Stock Talks. He likes it a lot. Just had a move, so you got to be careful. This is where it broke out from. Maybe put it on your radar for next year. Nice move. Came from 250 to 750. So I'd just be careful chasing it now. You go to the weekly chart and take a look. Looks like it just broke out, and there is room back to here if it wants it. So yeah, put this on your radar. If Ed Yardeni is right and the Mag 7 is not the place to be next year, and there's 493 other stocks, you better do your homework. You better look around. You better expand your go-to list. Mid caps, small caps, we'll figure it out. We'll try and continue to move our feet and be where the money is and go where the setups are. and have multiple plans and wait for the market to confirm it. Because if the market doesn't confirm your plan, it's not a strategy, it's an opinion. And if you're opinionated and stubborn, you're not going to make it as a trader in this business. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you.